Hey, are you talking about back in the day?
Nah, man. I'm talking about back in the day.
Back in the day. Back in the day. Back in the day. Back in the day.
Joining me today on the Back in the Day podcast, the music director of the Dallas Stars and the Dallas Mavericks, Shippy. What's up, dude?
Yo, what's up, man? It's good to be back.
Yeah, welcome back, dude.
Yeah, it's I'm in off-season mode, so when you hit me up to hop on here, I was like, yeah, I'll have a little fun with old Michael Pasvar real quick.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for coming on, man. Lots changed in your world since you've been on.
Dude.
Like last time you were...
I was struggling last time. I mean, we all were.
Soup, you know?
Yeah. I actually have not eaten soup since then.
Since then?
Yeah, no soup since then. But yeah, everything changed really. And when was I on here last? Like 2 years ago?
Like October of 2020, I think.
Yeah.
I think you were doing like the intern thing for, like you were like the interim DJ for the Stars.
Yeah.
Like you had just started
so
that.
I was DJing the watch parties at the time.
Yes, that's what it was.
And so at that point, I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to get the job, but that was kind of like a tryout for me, I guess, that I found out later. And I guess it went well. So, yeah, a lot's changed in the 2 years. I mean, it's been crazy. Like, the Mavericks thing just happened this season.
Yeah.
So this is my first full season with the Mavericks, and I call this like my 1.5 season with the Stars, because last year with COVID really didn't count, because we had like 5,000 fans, so there was no energy in the building. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know what crowd response or like sing-alongs that I wanted to bring in. I was like, I think I hear like maybe 100 people singing right now, but if there was 18,000 instead of 5,000, it'd be a lot easier to tell.
For those crowds, was everyone like spread out, or did they put like 5,000 in one spot?
No, yeah, I was for the COVID crowds. They were all spread out. Like, they would just have like zip ties or something like over the seats, and everybody had to sit in the unzip tied seats.
I feel like that's almost would be worse than having it just empty in a way. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's just kind of weird. Like, there's little pockets of people everywhere.
It was just all around weird. And like, I didn't get a preseason last season. So my first ever Stars game is a regular season opener with a banner unveiling because they went to the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, hey, dude, your first game ever. And Groobs, who used to be the music director, he's like, yeah, man, I'm going to be right there next to you. Like, don't even trip about it. It's going to be fine. And then, like, the day of, he's like, hey, man, I don't really feel good about people being there, so you're on your own. Like,
yeah,
I was
thanks.
like, oh, all right. So it's kind of sink or swim. I think that actually worked out better, though, because, I mean, I think if he would have been over my shoulder, I would have been too reliant on him. And just me being thrown into the fire, just like, hey, no pressure, you know.
Yeah, and
don't
honestly,
screw anything up.
Maybe a little bit nervous too, right? Like, because you're feeling like you have to do it exactly the way he wants you to do it or whatever.
Kind of, yeah. And like, that is a thing. Like, when you take over for somebody like Groobs, who's so well known and loved in Dallas, like, those are some big shoes to fill, you know. And like, everybody was like, man, you got some big shoes to fill. And I'm like, I know. Yeah. Like, Groobs is one of my best friends, but I know, trust me, I saw the task at hand. Like, when the announcement happened, like, there was an article written an athletic article written where they interviewed me and they interviewed Groobs, and like, it was this whole big thing. So honestly, though, by the opening night, I wasn't really nervous. I was just anxious just to finally get that one under my belt.
Yeah,
to get one game under my belt.
Build-up.
Yeah, like all summer I'm working on music with my boss, Kevin Harp, who is in charge of, the entertainment or the in-game presentation. So all summer I'm like working with him, and like, since I didn't get to practice the night before my regular season opener, my roommates at the time, they played NHL on the on my
Xbox
PlayStation, and I would hit the goal or like make sure I remember where all the buttons were, and I'd just play music.
That's
like,
all.
I had no other way to practice, and I was like, well, I got to figure out something to do. Like, and it was way off timing because, like, a video game, hockey game just speeds by. Like, it's like a 5-minute game total. So.
How'd you get into the DJ stuff? Because you went from, radio, that's what your background was in, and then all of a sudden you're DJing.
Yeah.
All the sports.
Yeah. So, I mean, it really came down to... So Groobs obviously was basically, he did exactly what I did at the Fan, but he did it at the Ticket. He was a board op over there. And so whenever he had the idea that he was about to get the Rangers job, or he knew that it was a possibility, he reached out to me and he was like, hey man, like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the Stars and the Rangers. He's like, would you want to do the Stars job? I think you'd be good at it. I know you know music. I know you're good with drops. Like, we're so similar. Like, we talk about it all the time. It's really weird, actually. Like, we're very similar people. I don't know if we're related. Like, I got some questions.
You in a Red Hot Chili Peppers cover band too?
Dude, yeah. I might be. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like, so.
Like, no, I'm actually in a Linkin Park cover band.
Well, and actually, I think I'm joining that band.
Are you really?
Yeah, as the lead man. Yeah. So, yeah, we're basically the same person. But he reached out to me and he was like, hey, like, you know, is this something you'd be interested in? I'm like, at the time, I'm just thinking, I'm like, well, like, what do I do? Like, music director, what does it involve? And I was like, dude, I'll do it. I'll try it. And, yeah, he basically, like, recommended me to my bosses. And then I had a meeting with them via Zoom, you know, during quarantine and the lockdown and everything. And then once I filled in and I did just the watch parties, I guess like that summer I found out, or whenever that was. I think it was actually January or December, January, because everything was all messed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I found out in like November, December of that year, like, hey, dude, you got the job. So
that's awesome. And then you also started like DJing like other venues, like clubs and stuff,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. So I actually taught myself how to DJ during the pandemic.
Okay.
So like while things were closed and people were looking for something to do, like we would have parties at my place and like I would DJ. Don't tell Dr. Fauci,
yeah,
but
super spreader
yeah,
events. Yeah, like,
yeah.
You know,
I mean, we're all in Dallas, and it's
Yeah.
all like bartenders and bottle service people. Like we were all going to clubs and stuff, anyways. Like it was like Prohibition, but different. You know?
Yeah, I
like,
understand.
I was at a club one night, and like I'm on the back patio, and all of a sudden I just hear doop 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 doop, and I'm like, what is that? Doop 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 doop, and I'm like, is somebody at the door? And then people run out, cops are here, cops are here, and everybody flooded out the back. Like, dude, it was fun. It was fun. So I taught myself.
Time, right?
Yeah. So I had nothing but time on my hands though. So I just literally got like a controller and just started teaching myself. And my background in music, like I've been in music my whole life. I started out with piano, and then in 6th grade I joined percussion, and I was a percussionist, a snare drummer. I played all different types of percussion instruments. You know, even going into college where I was on the snare line for 4 years.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that's what made it a pretty easy like pickup for me. Like I'm still getting better and I'm still learning a lot, like to this day. But I think that's what made me pick it up so quick, is just that background, and just music is just like in me. It's weird.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's just something that is has always come naturally to me.
Yeah. And then so you're doing those underground parties.
Yeah,
right?
not anymore. Now, we're above ground now.
Above ground.
We're above ground now. Yeah.
All legit now. Everything's legit.
Yeah.
Don't come after him, Fauci.
Yeah,
And,
sorry.
Yeah, so
Your boy needed to make some money coming out of this somehow.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. And then so you do that, and then how'd the Mavericks gig come about?
So last season, so this is crazy. So Game 3 and Game 4, right, against the Clippers in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll rewind a little bit more than that. So DJ Poison Ivy used to be the music director for the Mavericks. Well, last season she had the opportunity to go DJ the NBA Ball League in Africa, and she's from Africa, so it was an opportunity she couldn't turn down. So when she decided she was going to go do that, they needed to find a replacement DJ, and they reached out to me to come in and fill in. And so I started training with Ivy, and I started learning just how different NBA is from NHL. And I trained for probably 7 or 8 games, and then she left, and I filled in. My first ever game was against the Brooklyn Nets, and that was right when they had just got
everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and and it's on TNT. It's like, all right, it's like another situation of, all right, dude, like don't screw up. Like you're on TNT. Like if there's no music, people are gonna notice. So I filled in for basically the rest of the season, and then into the playoffs. I got to DJ games 3 and 4, which Game 3 was the first ever. I don't know if you remember this. Game 3, the Mavericks Clippers series. That was the first ever game where everybody was back at full capacity.
Oh yeah,
we opened.
Yeah.
It was insane, dude. And like the energy was so good, and there were so many people, and people were so excited to be back in the NBA, or like back in an arena together, like and feeling some sort of normalcy again. We're in the middle of like the pregame rundown, right? Where if you see those commercials or when Sean Heath reads like, "Hey, scan this QR code for a free like a Slurpee or something," you know? We're like doing all that stuff. We're about to, and all of a sudden, my boss Jonathan with the Mavericks, he goes over the intercom, like we're all on headsets, so everybody can communicate between replay and then my boss who calls all the shots and things like that. And he hops on. He goes, "Hey, Cuban said, screw all the sponsorships. He just wants a party. Shippy, take it away." And I'm like, dude, we're like 2 hours before the game. And I'm like, thank God I over-prepared because I was nervous. I'm like, dude, this is game 3 and we're going to have 18,000 people.
And we were up 2-0, right?
We were up 2-0. Yep. And so I'm like, thank God I over-prepared because I put in like a ton of work. Like I had gotten that computer. So there's like an AAC computer that gets passed from DJ to DJ. And so I got the computer that I have now from Groobs. So thankfully he had already had like a Mavs profile on there with a lot of stuff built in. But like I had like my own flair I wanted to throw on things, you know? And so leading into the playoffs, I put in a ton of work. And thank God I did because if I wouldn't have pulled all that music, I wouldn't have had an hour and a half or 2 hours of just straight party music, like switching between that and then Let's Go Mavs chants and then back to like it was crazy.
That's pretty crazy.
It was pretty crazy.
And that's a curveball too, just be like, hey, we're scrapping what we were gonna do. Get the music started.
And that's something that I feel like is like very important for what I do, that you have to be able to think quick and act on your toes, like, and just know your library well enough. I mean, there's some elements, like some things that we did at Mavs games this season where they had never done it with me as the DJ. So it was on Ivy's computer. Ivy has one of those AAC computers too. So they'd be like, all right, we're going to do this. And I'm like, I don't know. They're like, so for an example, towards the end of the regular season, my boss was like, all right, we're going to do the scissor lift. Shippy, do you have the scissor lift music? And I'm like,
scissor lift?
The scissor lift? I was like, I thought you were saying something totally different at first. Like, I don't know what you're talking about right now, Jonathan. But so I'm like, dude, no. He's like, just search scissor. And I'm like, all right. So I'm like searching scissor. I'm like, nothing's coming up, dude. I'm like, he's like, okay, well, what are you going to do? And I'm like, I don't know what normally happens. He's like, it's the Space Odyssey music, and then it's like a hype song. And I was like, all right, I have the Space Odyssey music. I'll find the hype song. Yeah. So, and it went super well. Like it went viral on Twitter and stuff the first time we did it. Yeah, because I did the Space Odyssey music into Zombie Nation.
Oh,
and the
nice.
whole place was like jumping, and they were all doing oh.
That's awesome,
dude. That was like one of those moments I got chills because like that was just something that I created out of thin air. Like he was like, "Are you good?" And he has so much trust in me, which I can't believe he does, honestly. But he has so much trust in me. He's like, "You got this," and I was like, "I got it. Just tell me when to switch the music, and we'll be good." So,
well, the DJ is an underrated player in those type of events because it can change the whole dynamic of the place. You know what I mean? And you don't even think about it. Like I could imagine. I wonder what it would be like going to a professional sports game with no music. Oh, it would probably be boring.
It would be horrible, and
you probably wouldn't even realize it either. You'd be like, "What is missing?"
I think so. They talked about like not playing music during the like NBA games, you know, like when they're playing offense, defense, because I play all that too. So like at the very least or the most, I'm always switching something every 24 seconds in an NBA game. So people are like, "Can I come see you?" I'm like, I mean, you can come watch me, but I can't, like, the ball literally can change at any moment. I'm not going to be playing Let's Go Mavs while we're on defense. Like, so, yeah, I mean, that's one thing that I've really learned is, like, just building the atmosphere and, like, just the right song at the right time is what's the key. Because you can influence the game because you get people hyped, you get people into it. That's one of the things with the Stars games that I did is, you know, in the past they had done All the Small Things, which was a sing-along. So, you know, once the puck was dropped, you cut the music, and people would keep singing All the Small Things. Well, I was like, why don't we do this with more songs? There's so many songs that people know all the words to. And so that was one thing that I really challenged myself with this year was to find more songs for people to keep going after the whistle. Like I brought in Mr. Brightside. Towards the end of the season, I brought in Living on a Prayer. Like, I even played people saying "I Want It That Way." I played that on the day before Valentine's Day, and they finished the sing along on that. So it's like,
what was like the coolest song that you played for something like that, and then what was the biggest dud where you were like,
dude. Okay, I'll start with the dud.
Okay,
because this will show you how much like the music can really change just the whole feeling in a building. So it was a Mavericks game. I can't remember who we were playing, and it was a late timeout. And, if something really good happens, my boss calls it a hot timeout. Hot music. Play hot music. So I typically stick with something that just has a real easy, like, bass for people to just clap along to or jump or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's a late hot timeout, and, like, there's these two different songs, and, like, one's, like, I think it's called, one's, like, Louder, and then the other one's like called like Get Loud or something like that. They're two songs that are very similarly titled. Well, the last game he was like, dude, I like that song, and I was like, all right, hell yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna use that song again. Well, I accidentally used the wrong version of it. Or I accidentally used the different song. Like, it's not even a version, it's just a totally different song, and they just happen to be kind of similarly titled. So it's like going, it's like doom, doom, doom. Everybody's clapping, everybody's having a good time. And like, I'll never forget on the Jumbotron, they're showing the dancers and they're dancing to everything. Well, I guess I hadn't listened like long enough into this song. Because all of a sudden, like in an instant, like it just, the whole like thing changed. And it was like, like it was just this weird beat. And I was like sitting there and I was like, oh my God, what the hell just happened? Like I felt the energy just get sucked out of the room because like people were like, what the hell just happened to this song? Like it was so simple like this for the whole time, and then it turned into like a real weird like wavy type vibe. And my boss was like, "Yeah, Shippy, I don't know about this one." And I told him, I was like, Jonathan, honestly, I thought that was a different song. I'd noticed too when it started playing, I was like, God, it sounds a little bit different, but it's like
but everybody's loving it.
Everybody's loving it. I was like, maybe I just was hearing it weird, or I don't know. And then that part hit, and I just felt like the energy kind of get sucked out of the room because everybody collectively, like the dancers were on the Jumbotron, and they like even were like I don't know how to move to this anymore because it just lost that like real simple beat. Yeah. So that was definitely the biggest.
That was
dud.
The biggest dud.
It was
but it was a half dud.
It was a half dud.
Yeah.
Right. It was a half dud. I don't think I really had any like duds like Yeah, I can't think of any that were just totally didn't work. But like as far as like the biggest hit, I would say probably either Living on a Prayer as the sing along or Mr. Brightside as the sing along. Because like, dude, when they like, and here's the thing that sucks about the sing along is I'm depending on the linesman to drop the puck on time. Like I have this whole like I got it down to a science where I know typically how long it takes them to drop the puck. But if they're a little early or a little late, it can just totally ruin the sing-along. Because people are like, well, I don't know this part. But if it was like 2 seconds later, then and sometimes I'll just let the song keep going just to get to that part, just so they know where to go. But I think like the Living on a Prayer and the Mr. Brightside sing-alongs this year were great. I mean, we do Friends in Low Places every third period because the whole thing was Texas hockey, so... I mean, what's more Texas than country music?
Yeah, exactly.
And George Strait, you know? So, or wait, that's not George Strait. That's, who's it again?
Garth
Brooks.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a big country music guy.
I'm not really either. But I have seen Garth Brooks twice in concert.
Oh, really?
Same year we went, yeah.
I've seen Casey Donahue before in concert and Shania Twain. Shania Twain was my first ever concert, dude. When I was a little kid. I'll never forget.
Where was it at?
AAC. My parents took me. Dude, she came out in a Roy Williams jersey. You know, the safety that was a huge bust.
Oh, not a big.
Well, kind of.
Not a bust.
He went
to the Pro Bowl like 5 times.
And then he forgot how. And then he couldn't cover anybody.
Well, he couldn't cover. He never could cover.
He could hit hard though. So he wasn't a bust. He wasn't a bust. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry.
He's not Roy Williams receiver bust.
Dude, yeah.
He traded everybody for him.
Oh my God, that was horrible.
All right, so you went.
She came out in like a Roy Williams jersey, and like I've been in love ever since, dude.
Yeah,
like,
I don't blame you.
Now this DJ thing is working out. I'm like, all right,
so Shania?
How can I get to Shania Twain now?
My first concert was the Backstreet Boys.
Really?
Yeah, we went at the. Do you remember what the Bronco Bowl was? That might have it might have gotten torn down before you were old enough to remember. Because I was like in 5th grade, and we went for my sister's birthday. We were in like the very back. It was a bowling alley. The place was a bowling alley.
They played a bowling alley?
It wasn't it was the front of it was a bowling alley, and then in the back, they had like a 5,000 seat concert venue.
Interesting.
Not huge, but definitely a decent size. And I want to say it was in Oak Cliff. Was it an Oak Cliff? Do you remember Bronco Bowl? I can't remember. I thought it was an Oak Cliff. But yeah, that was my first concert.
How was it? Like,
I don't know. I mean, it was pretty good. You know, they were doing their thing.
Yeah. How old were you?
5th grade.
Okay. See, I think I was like 5th grade when I saw Shania Twain,
Yeah.
like somewhere in there. So I don't really remember the concert. I just remember she looked really good.
I just remember like 12, 13-year-old girls losing their shit.
Oh, yeah, dude.
And we were in like the
bet.
second to last row. Like we were in the far, far back, and like girls were crying, thinking that the Backstreet Boys were singing to them. Like, and I'm like it's like, I love all of you. And they're like, oh my God, he's talking to me. It's like, girl, we in the back. Like,
He just said I'm his fire.
Yeah.
His one desire.
He's talking to me. It's like, no, he's not at all. So that was my first one. Hey, are there rules of when you can play music? Like do they have different rules?
Yeah, so
And is it different?
it's fun. Yeah, it's different. So this it's actually kind of funny because I'm very familiar with the rules of the NHL, but I literally didn't find out I was going to be the DJ for all 41 home games until a week before the NBA season. So I still have some questions on when I'm allowed to play drops and stuff. Like I'm like after a missed free throw. Yeah, I don't know. Like, and I try to ask my boss, and he's like, "Yeah, I think you're good." And I'm like, "I don't want. I think you're good." Like,
you're getting fined.
Like, yeah.
So
that's one big thing this off season. Like, because I didn't have a lot of time to prepare for this season. Like, I was just getting ready to do 41 games for the Stars. I wasn't expecting to do 41 games for the Mavs too. Like, I was the backup DJ, so I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll get 10 in or something.
Yeah.
But like that's something that even when I'm playing there'll be a foul, right? And I'm like playing the music. I'm like, am I supposed to stop this at every whistle, or like how long is this supposed to go? I'll listen to other NBA arenas, and there's no like some DJs will just keep the music going until they pass, like are about to pass them the ball for the free throw. And then other arenas, they cut it right away. So I don't know if any NBA DJ knows the rules. I'm going to email Adam Silver and be like, hey, man.
What are
I know
DJ
I know
rules?
you're busy with the NBA Finals right now, but what am I allowed to play drops if they miss a free throw? I'm just asking, okay? Like, I do know, like, you're not in either sport or any sport, I'm sure, you're not allowed to go after, like, specific players. I know the Kings DJ. I don't know him, but I know that he... Russell Westbrook was in town, and you know he had a horrible season. So every time he'd miss a shot, he'd play "You're as cold as ice" like every single time, and he got in trouble. So my boss talked to me. He was like, "Hey, make sure," and I was like, "I'm not gonna do that." The only thing that I did that makes fun of the other team like mid game is if they shoot an air ball, I have this special edit of a year that I play on a loop. So like I'll let it go for a minute just so I can hear it for a second, feel bad about shooting an air ball, and then I'll switch over to an offensive thing.
You had a real cool post, if I remember correctly, that like Luka.
Oh yeah. So dude,
talk about that.
So yeah,
explain it to the audience.
So this is how it works. Like when Luka hits the court, the whole vibe in the arena changes.
Of course.
I switched to Slovenian music. I sometimes will play some Bad Bunny, but this season, like I really would just play Slovenian music. And like I would sometimes I would get a text message from Scooter Tomlin, who works with the Mavericks, and like I'd look down on my phone and it would just be like a list of YouTube links, and it's like the alphabet. Like when you look at the names, it's like the alphabet just threw up all over my phone screen. I'm like, and it's like 10 minutes before he's gonna come out, and he's like, "Hey man, can you get this for us?" I'm like, yeah, let me get on it. So then I get on my computer and I'm like, like it's like because it's the craziest how they spell things. It's not anywhere near. It's like a bunch of consonants in a row, and you're like, bro, how does I don't even know how to say this, like. And it's not links that he sends, it's screenshots.
Oh, yeah.
So I can't even click the link. I have to type out all these...
What's in the YouTube?
Yes. And so, like, it's insane. And, like, my setup at the Mavs and the Stars, like, I can't get on the internet. And once my computer is locked in, it's locked in. So, like, I have a right computer that I use for all my drops and stuff. It's called Click Effects. So what I'll do is I'll literally type all those crazy Slovenian song titles out, download them, put them on my flash drive, put them on the second computer, and hope that all that happens in time by the time Luka gets out there. And dude, it's like, it's crazy. Like, I mean, obviously, I'll like do anything, to make Luka happy.
Yeah, it's Luka.
Yeah, but
keep him happy.
Yeah, but sometimes I'm like, if it's like a bad day and I'm tired, and then you look down and you see that, and you're like, oh man, and like, there's so much pressure on you. Then at that point, you got people coming up to you and wanting to talk to you and stuff. So yeah, the text message that I got was, there was one of those days, and every time he would do that, he would go off. Like, he would have like 20 points in the first quarter. So that was I'm like, dude, if you need me to do this for you, like,
I'll type in all the letters.
Yeah, like it is kind of tough, and it is a little inconvenient. Like, I'm gonna get Rosetta Stone and brush up on my Slovenian this summer, so it's a little easier for me to type out. But yeah, so he sent that text, like, Scooter sent it over to me after Luka left his warm up, because he had given me him like super late. Like, I even told him, I was like, dude, I'm going to do anything I can, but like, there's a whole process. It's not just as easy as clicking a YouTube channel, or a YouTube link.
I don't have Wi-Fi. Like,
yeah, it's really tough. Like, it's not easy. So I was able to pull it off, and I played all the songs for him, and then Scooter Tomlin took a screenshot of him sending that to him and sent it to me, and was like, dude, he was like, this is a huge compliment. Like, if you're on Luke, like, if Luka's happy and you're on Luka's good side, you're good.
What did the text say?
It said, hey, will you tell the DJ amazing job today?
Heck yeah.
So, yeah, it was awesome. So
you're like the official DJ of Luka then?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dude, I actually could, like, I could actually DJ a Slovenian party now. Yeah, I have no idea what the hell. I have no idea what the hell they're saying. That's the other part. When Luka's out there, I'm like, dude, this might be the most depressing song in the world. I have no idea.
Yeah, it could be like,
and it could be, they could be cussing left and right. I'm just like, I don't know.
It's like all things that should be getting you canceled. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, I have no idea. Like, I had a Slovenian TV station interview me one game.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah. Like, I'm up in my little like perch or whatever, hanging out, like playing music for Luka, and then all of a sudden I turn and like there's this girl and this dude, and they got a camera, and she was like, "Are you the DJ?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "We're with Slovenian TV. Can we interview you?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "About what?" They were like, "Dude, you're playing all this music for Luka, and he's so happy on the court. Like, he's singing, he's like smiling, like he's in a good mood."
What style of music is it? Like, if you had to like put it in a genre,
a lot of it's kind of like EDM-ish. Like, it'll have like that EDM beat and kind of like that electronic sound. Some of it's like real folky, like folk music. There's this one song that, like, I swear, like, is like a gypsy song. Like, it was weird. Like, it was a weird 3 minutes, but I mean, Luka wanted it, so like, the audio guy and the people downstairs like, Shippy, what the hell are you playing? I'm like, look, shut up. Luka asked for this, so just sit here and endure it like I am. So it's kind of all over the place. Like, some of it's like folk kind of, and then, yeah, I would say that those are probably the most, like, the two that, like, the two most predominant, like, sounds, I guess. It's crazy too, because like when I'm looking at my screen trying to decide what to play, I can never remember like which ones are the upbeat, like, because I love to play those because at least you can bob your head to it,
and the crowd's excited to it.
But there's some of them that you're playing it and you're just like, oh my god, like.
It's super sad. It's like war music. Like,
yeah,
just like,
and there's some that's just so slow. Like, I'm like, what is she singing about right now? Like, that's when I really wonder. I'm like, is this a song about an ex? Like, I hope I'm not like, I don't know. I hope I'm not getting into Luka's head while he's playing. Like, man, he's playing the sad song. I wish he'd play one of those happy ones I gave him, but I don't know.
You don't know which one?
I don't know which one they are.
He's like, well, you asked for this, dude.
I barely, yeah.
Or if you spelled one of them wrong and you have no idea.
I did that one time, dude. There's 2 Slovenian songs. I swear to God, they're like 2 or 3 letters off.
Yeah.
And so like I got the other one, and I played it, and then I looked at the text and I was like, oh damn it! I was like, that is not at all. What's funny is, later he requested, I ended up pulling the one that he meant, and then later he requested the one that I accidentally pulled. So, and I was like, I already got this one. I was like, dude, I made a mistake, but it worked out. So,
oh, that's awesome. Okay? So, you said there's rules for hockey. What are the rules?
Yeah.
Like, when can you play? When can you not?
So when the puck's in play, I'm not allowed to play.
Not allowed to play at all?
Yeah, when the ref's talking, I'm not allowed to play. And I have an audio guy, so like in both Mavs and Stars, I don't control the volume, like none of that stuff. They have faders. It's a lot like a board at a radio station. They have a board, and they bring up mics, they bring down music. So they help me out a lot with that in terms of just kind of when to fade it out, and it sounds a lot smoother too. Just because it's more of a gradual thing, Yeah, but those are really the only rules in hockey. You're really supposed to stop it right when they drop the puck, but like one of the linesmen's favorite things to do is to fake you out. Mm-hmm. Like they'll act like they're gonna drop it, and they'll act like you're gonna drop it, and then they'll drop it and they'll pick it up, and you're like. Then you stop a song, and you're like, man, that was actually just getting to the good part. Thanks a lot, jerk.
That's funny.
So, like, I have different drops I'll play to, like, there's, like, a drop from Starsky and Hutch where he's like, come on, do it. Yeah. He's like, no, seriously, come on, do it. And so I'll play that stuff at the linesmen and the refs, just, like, poke fun at them. But, yeah, those are really the only rules, other than, obviously, no cuss words.
Yeah.
Which I did accidentally play one. Not this season, but last season.
What song was it?
It was just a song that I used. So like it was pregame, and oh my god, it was horrible. I was pretty rattled. So it was pregame. It was like a Sunday afternoon game. I'm seeing all these kids walk past me. Yeah, yeah. There's like kids all wearing their church clothes and stuff. So whenever there's like a video up on the board, sometimes I'll play the music underneath that. So they'll tell me when they're gonna show the video, and I'll change the track, and it all looks like it's all one thing. So I played this one track, and it was like real upbeat and stuff. And I'd played it a bunch of times before, but like the Mavericks song I talked about earlier, I had not, I guess, gone far enough into this song. This is my rookie season. So like it's going, and we're about to change something, or we're about to change elements. So I'm getting ready to change the music, and then like. Right before we do it, this guy just hops out of nowhere. It's an EDM song upbeat, and he goes, "Make some fucking noise!" Like, screams it, dude. Screams it. And I'm like, dude, my stomach dropped. I'm like sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, I'm fired. Like, and my boss at the time was sitting to my right, like, because he wanted to be near me in case something went wrong. Like, he could come help me.
Okay, you played a song.
He turned, he's like, Shippy, you need to edit that. I'm like, dude, I know, like, I did not mean to play that. And Jeff K was real cool about it. He got in my ear and he was like, dude, it happens to everybody. And then, like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, but it's a little different if you just slip, like, a fuck in there and not just, like, it's like, make some fucking noise. And I'm like, oh, my. And it's pregame. Like, no, like, the game hadn't even started yet.
So there's no other noise going on.
Yeah. Oh, my God. So it took me a minute to, like, recover. Like, I was pretty rattled for a minute because I'm just like, damn it, like, I don't want to hear from, like, the CEO or something, like, hey, man,
yeah,
we were at the game early.
And what's funny about that, or, like, not funny, but funny at the
it's
same
funny
time.
now.
Yeah,
it's funny now.
It's funny about it, too, is honestly, it's not like it was, like, in some verse, like, that maybe you didn't hear it, like,
right.
I was like, what did he say? But it's like...
Oh, that's, like, exactly. That's where I was like, oh, man. I was like, that... Because you can get, like, DJs accidentally play cuss words all the time, like... And it'll just be in a verse or something, like, and honestly, like, I'm super aware of it and I'm always thinking about it, but the casual fan or the fans in the stand, like, they're eating nachos and drinking beer and stuff. Yeah. They're not focused on, did that song have a cuss word in it? Like, exactly. Like I am, and they don't need to be, and I check all my music. That was just one that...
You weren't messing that one.
Yeah, yeah, you were not. And it was so loud. Like, I cannot even explain to you how loud it was. Like, there was no mistaking what he said. Oh, my God, it was so horrible.
Hey, while you were doing, like, all these different, like, DJ gigs before all of these cool spots, did you have any, like, crap gigs that you had to do that were just, like, terrible? Like, we call them hell gigs in comedy.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a spot in Dallas that I DJ'd at, and this was like one of my first regular gigs. It was a Friday and Saturday gig, and like sometimes like they did not take care of the place at all. Mm-hmm. Like sometimes they just didn't have checks. Like one time they didn't have a check for me for like a month and a half, and I'm like, bro, like really kind of need this check. Like, I'll take cash too, but like, you guys really got to pay me.
Venmo me or something.
Yeah, like they had a roof, or they had a leak in the roof above me. And like, so like one time I'm DJing and like all of a sudden water just hit me and I'm like, yo, you guys got a leak up there. So the owner goes up there and all he does is just get a bucket and like take some of the like they had a bucket above me that was overflowing.
Oh my god!
So they just took some of the water out of that bucket and were like moving it to make more room for the water to go. Dude, it was bad.
Get your computer and your board out.
Yeah,
like, yeah.
I had to bring all my own stuff, like all my own equipment too. Sometimes the speakers wouldn't work. It was always hot in there. I don't think they like had AC. Like it was bad, dude. It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Like I actually saw a bartender recently who worked there, and they were like, "Man, you've come a long way since the I don't want to say the business's name, but since those days
you're getting leaked on."
Yeah. So yeah, and it was just, and people kept getting shot outside too.
Oh shit!
Bro,
Yeah,
like straight up, like people were getting shot like in the street right by there. Like you'd hear gunshots, and I just like hide behind my little like DJ case.
you're mixing it into your song. Like,
Yeah.
like, you're just
I was like, was that a drop or was that outside?
No,
I was
hey,
like, no,
just keep going.
Might have been in the song.
Yeah.
We don't know if the sirens. Yeah, it's like when you're driving and you hear the sirens. Like, is that in this? Am I getting pulled over right now, or is that in the song?
Is that my kid's toy back there?
Yeah.
Or like, so all right. Name of the podcast is Back in the Day, right? You've been
Mm-hmm.
on it, you know that. Each season, I kind of have a different theme. This year, I'm focusing on like first dates, awkward dates. Do you remember your first ever date?
Kind of. It was in high school.
Okay.
I think my first ever date was with my first ever girlfriend. Like I think.
What grade were you in?
I was in 9th grade, I think, or 10th grade.
Did you go to the movies? Everyone goes to the movies. Actually, someone went to Bass Pro Shop. I think that was it Bass Pro Shop? Yeah.
That's a terrible place to go for a date.
They hang out in a boat.
Yeah.
Seriously, they hung out in a boat and like talked or whatever.
That's a strange one.
Yeah.
I've never taken a girl there, that's for sure. I think I took her to like Spaghetti Warehouse.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like I think that's where because she used to work there.
The one downtown?
There was one in Plano,
Oh,
right?
okay.
There was one in Plano.
When she lived in Plano, I was like,
Yeah.
man, you came all the way downtown.
Yeah. This is when I was in Plano, and she worked at it. That's what happened. So she worked at Spaghetti Warehouse in Plano, and so she got a discount.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh yeah,
yeah, we're going there.
It's on. Yeah, this one's on you, baby. No, but I think it was Spaghetti Warehouse.
Spaghetti Warehouse. And then that was your girlfriend for how long?
Dude, we dated for 2 years, year and a half, 2 years, something like that.
Who broke up with who? Do you remember?
Well, so I don't really remember who broke up with who. So I went to Mizzou as a freshman, right?
Uh-huh.
She also went to Mizzou as a freshman, and like she was like following me around at Mizzou. It was weird. Like we hooked up a couple times like the first week there because
Uh-huh.
I'm
the
in a new space, but then I was kind of like, yeah, I don't know, like I'm doing drumline and there's a lot of dancers over here, like I might shoot my shot like with them. I've been with you for a while.
Were y'all already broken up when you went to Mizzou?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember? So you don't remember what went down? Was it
I don't remember
drama?
how it went down. I think it was just because we didn't know where we were going to college.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's just break up, just because I'm not gonna date you if you're not at Mizzou.
At the
and then
same
she,
school,
yeah.
And she's like, I'm at Mizzou.
Yeah.
Like, she's just like, surprise.
Dude. Oh
Like-
no! One time she she surprised me in a lot of ways. Like one time I was hanging out playing video games in my dorm, and like she's like, "Hey, I'm stuck on your elevator," and I was like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm on the top floor of your elevator." I'm like, "I did not invite you over here.
Why are you here?"
She's like, "I don't know, but can you please get me out of the elevator?" And like my dorm was one of the longest standing dorms ever, right?
Uh-huh.
And so I'm like, do I go? I guess I got to go help her off this elevator. So yeah, she would just show up to my dorm randomly. It was crazy. It was bad. It was
And
bad.
finally, you're like, I gotta
Yeah.
distance myself from that.
Yeah.
So, do you have any stories about any like other random first dates?
So the one that when you told me about this, the one that I thought of. So I have a really good story. I'm going to tell here in a second.
Okay.
Like it's not a first date, but it was like kind of a first date.
All right.
Because that's the thing I was thinking about when you asked me this. I'm like, damn, like I really don't take girls on dates that much. Like I just like go out and hang out, talk to them, and maybe take them to like a gig or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, or just be like, hey, you want to hang out at my pool? Like stuff like that. But so this was probably like 2 years ago. There was this girl that I was like kind of into. I was like, I might date her, yada yada. I was still doing radio at the time, and Ariana Grande was in town, and so she really wanted to go to it, and I was like, all right. I was like, I had a cool thing at the AAC then, and I still have it now. Like they take care of me. Like I just buy the cheapest ticket to get in, and then they will take me to the floor, or like at that time I had a suite hookup where they'd put me in a free suite if they had it open. And, like, they'd bring me, like, free beer and wine. I'm like, damn, this is pretty nice. So I was like, all right, I'll take her. So then my buddy Caesar was like, hey, like, all these girls want to go to Ariana Grande. And I was like, oh, like, this girl just hit me up. She really wants to go. Like, let's all link up. I can get us a suite. And so I just bought a bunch of cheap tickets for everybody to get in. Well, I hadn't really hung out with her that much before. Like, here's the downside to if you just meet people in clubs or bars or like you don't really spend a lot of time with them.
You see night version of them.
Yeah,
you don't know who they are, how they actually are as a real person,
and you're not sober. Yeah, or you're not sober when you meet them, and then you are when you actually spend quality time with them. Like I pick her up in the Uber, and like she's just like locked in on her phone and just like total bitch. Like. I'm like, damn, I was like, I thought you were way more social than this. So I was like, all right, maybe she'll loosen up once we get there and stuff. So we get there, and like the whole time she's just like silent. And then I meet up with Caesar, and he's got all these girls that he told me he was bringing, and they are all 10 times hotter than her. She was hot, like she was hot, but like there was this one girl in particular. I was like, damn, like who are you? Like, and I'm like, why did I bring her? I'm like, I could have.
It was just you and. Caesar and all these girls?
Yeah, it was me, Caesar, and all these girls at Ariana Grande. And me and him did not care. Like, we were just drinking beer the whole time. They were all singing the words, thank you next, and stuff. And so, literally the whole time, like, all she did was complain about everything. There was nothing that was ever right about the music or the sound.
A free concert right now. And it's sweet.
Exactly. I'm like, can you, like, be a little more appreciative, So
I hate this girl.
Yeah.
I legitimately hate her.
That's a really tough concert, an expensive concert to go to.
Yeah.
Like it was like everybody was there. Like it was packed, I mean, so that was like a really bad first date to the point where it was like I think afterwards, like I just sent her an Uber home, and I went and hung out with Caesar and all those girls. I was like, look, I can't hang out with you like that.
Yeah.
I was just real with her. I was like, yeah, you're not really like my type.
So you never hung out with her again?
No.
Never talked to her anymore?
She actually moved.
Yeah, good.
Thank God.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, all right, what's the other story you have for me? The awkward one.
Okay. Dude, this is the epitome of awkward, dude.
Okay.
So this is in college. And so I was in drumline, right? And, last time I was on, I talked about the big parties that we'd throw and stuff.
Yeah.
With we'd get kegs from the local bars and stuff we'd play at the night before a home football game. So it's after a game, and we go to this big raging keg party, and we're hammered, and whatever. She's like, you want to come home with me? And I was like, all right, yeah, that's cool. Like, I'll go home with you. And so we go back to her place, and like we're like hooking up or whatever, and then we do our thing, and like I'm getting ready to go to sleep, and she's like just randomly, she's like, so what are you thinking about? And I'm like, what am I thinking? I was like, I don't know. And I was like, I could go for some FIFA right now. And she got pissed. She's like, no, I mean, like, what are we? And I was like, well, you should have said that instead of what are you thinking about? Or like, and so she, I say that, she gets pissed and turns over and goes to sleep. I go to sleep. Well, like in the middle of the night, like I wake up and like I hear like rain, I'm like, golly, I was like, I don't know, it's supposed to rain tonight. So I'm like laying in bed. I was like, yeah, it's pretty loud. And so it just starts to build and build and build. And I'm like, is there a tsunami outside? I'm like, what is going on? And so like I like sit up and I'm going to look around like through her windows. And like in front of me, I just see this hunched over figure, like this squatting hunched over figure. And like immediately I just shot back down. I'm like, oh my God, she's pissing all over her floor right now.
Oh my.
I'm like, so I'm laying back in her bed, and I'm like, and it's just getting louder and louder, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, what am I gonna do? I'm like, my shoes are over there, my wallet's over there, like, I think I had all my stuff in a pile. I'm like, I don't know if she's pissing on my stuff right now. I don't know what is going on. So I'm like laying in bed. I'm like, damn it, what do I do? What do I do? She gets back in bed. I think she like did it in her sleep or something.
Yeah, I didn't realize what she was doing.
And so like I'm like laying like wide awake. I'm like, what do I do? It's 5 a.m. Like I've never been in this girl's house before. She lives on the 3rd story of a townhome. Like it's pitch black. I can't see anything. So finally I like roll out of bed like real gently. So, you know, she didn't move or hear me move or wake up. And so like then I start scaling the wall like outside, like just
you don't want to step in it.
Yeah, because I don't know her room at all. Like I don't know where, and I couldn't tell where exactly she was. So like I scale the whole room, and like I think I left my phone over there too, but I knew it was somewhere near the door that I had just set everything down. Mm-hmm. And so I like get closer and closer, and then I finally feel my shoe, and I'm like, all right, and I reach down, like cross your fingers, please, don't be wet, you know. And I touch it, I'm like, all right, we're good. So that was good. So then I grabbed all my stuff, put my shoes on, and so like I said, she's on the 3rd floor of this place, so I can't see a thing. So I'm like scooting on my butt one stair at a time because she's got all this stuff hanging on the walls. I remembered seeing that going up. I was like, damn, she's got a lot of stuff on the walls. And it was a real skinny like staircase. It was not a lot of room. So I was literally just doing that so I didn't trip and fall down, 3 flights of stairs or whatever. And so I make my way all the way down to the bottom, and I'm like, what do I do? Like, I got to get out of here, And so I sent her a text first. I was like, hey, just so you know, you just got up randomly in the middle of the night and just started peeing all over your floor. I was like, you might want to do something about that. I was like, I don't know what to say, like, thoughts and prayers, but you just peed all over your floor. Maybe get a carpet cleaner or something. I'm not sure. So I sent that text, and then I called my buddies because I'm like, surely somebody's awake. And I happened to get in touch with some drumline people. I was like, sure, they got to be awake still. They're probably still partying. And so one of my buddies, like, he was a DD actually for that. He came and got me, picked me up, and was able to take me away from this girl's house. And so I woke up, like, the whole next day, I'm like checking my phone. I was eating lunch with buddies, and I told them the story. And I'm like every time my phone buzzes, I'm like looking at it, just expecting to see her name on there. Like,
see if she texts
like
you back.
what's she gonna say?
Yeah,
And like finally she texts me and she's like, "All right, well, I don't believe you, but if what you say happened, well then I apologize." And I'm like, I would not make this up.
Yeah, why would I?
I would have stayed in your bed. It was pretty comfortable. It was pretty comfortable until that happened.
Did you talk to her ever again? Did you see her ever again?
Okay, so I won't say exactly what like had us always seeing each other, but we were in something together that we were constantly around each other. Like, I mean, we were in band. Like,
oh, she was in band.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So that's how she was at the band party.
Yeah.
And so we constantly like were interacting and stuff, and yeah, it was pretty awkward from there on out, as you can imagine.
Yeah, girls peeing all over the place. And
dude,
I gotta hang out with her.
And the thing was, I couldn't believe it was. I seriously thought it was raining. Like it
was that loud,
and because it woke me up. Like it woke me up, and I remember looking out the window, and I'm like, it doesn't even look like. But I'm like, I'm still drunk, and I'm just like, I just woke up.
You're tired.
Yeah,
it's
like,
5 a.m.
Right, and
man. God, I don't think I've heard many stories of girls peeing, drunk. I had one friend that he peed drunk all the time.
Really?
Like constant times. Like that was like his calling card. He would just think he was at a toilet and just start pissing everywhere.
Dude, I would quit drinking for sure.
Like hotel rooms, like
that's nuts, dude.
Yeah, many times we go, hey, go over here. You'd wake up in the middle of the night and you'd hear it. Same thing. Yeah. I think I think that would wake most people up because it's a different sound you're not used to. Right.
Yeah. I mean, and so the thing, I don't normally sleep through everything. Like, I don't wake up to my alarm.
I don't wake up at all. I 100% believe that I will die I will die through a fire. Like that's what will happen to me. That's how I'm going to die. Like I will be asleep. I'll sleep through a fire.
Well, I slept through a fire alarm when I was a kid. Like,
really?
Yeah. Like we were on vacation with my family, and my family was there. And I slept through the whole thing, but I was like, dang, if there would have been a real fire and you guys wouldn't have been here, I would
I'd have been gone.
been real crispy. Like, it would have been no more me. So
I'll sleep through anything.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna fall asleep in a couch. I'll fall asleep during a movie. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll fall asleep right now. You know,
dude.
No, I'm just done.
Oh, okay. That'd be a poor part of the podcast.
Yeah, this is the portion.
I just talked to Travis.
You just talked to Travis.
Yeah.
I was telling.
He'll be off mic and I'll just translate to everybody what he's saying the whole time.
How uncomfortable would you be if you started telling me a story and I thought the story was so bad I just took off the headsets and just left? Like when like with Travis and I talked about that, like how uncomfortable would that be if like for a guest if I'm just like, oh, okay.
I mean, it would be pretty. I think it would be different if it was live.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If it was live, because I know Ben and Skin, they'll do that to each other where like they'll leave Ben on a mic and they'll be like, all right, well, we're back from break and nobody's here. They're all just pranking me and like, so he has to just tread water for a little bit. I think that would be tough, but with this, I'd just be like, all right, well, maybe he'll come back and like maybe mark that part. And like, do I sign off or what? Like, I don't know. I don't know what to do with my hands.
That's awesome. Well, dude, I got one more thing for you. You have Facebook?
Yeah.
All right, will you do something where you pull out your phone and go to your Facebook memories?
Yeah.
And will you read like the cringiest thing that you have on your Facebook memories? I haven't looked at mine today.
Okay.
See if I have anything.
Yeah, dude. Sometimes my Facebook memories are pretty cringe, dude.
Yeah, I've had some bad ones too. So let me see if I can find one.
I really like the Facebook memories thing though, because I'm really bad about like, I wouldn't check that on my own, you know, like. So I like that they bring it up because I'll try to check it just to see what I was doing on this day on different years. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see here. All right, we got. This isn't really cringe, but this shows how old I am, how long I've been on Facebook. Jonathan Shippy Shipman is tired.
There you go.
Jonathan Shippy Shipman is drumline camp tomorrow.
Remember that's how Facebook was. You had to put it was an is before everything on every status. That's
Yeah.
Like that doesn't even make sense. You are like Jonathan Shippy Shipman is drumline.
I am drumline camp tomorrow. Try to do it without me.
Yeah. Mine, I don't really have anything on mine. I've got
actually this one's really weird out of context. I don't know where I was. But I was with my mom on June 8th, 2012, and I said, the only type of shopping I can bear, also it's a little weird that it's right next to a Babies R Us. Okay. So I don't know what that means.
I got my wife's name is Cindy.
Oh, it looks like we were at Central Market.
I've got from 12 years ago, Cindy and Spartacus are both snoring, ... That's my dog. My dog and my wife, they were snoring at the same time. Why I thought that I needed to post that, I have no idea. That's about it. I've got like a couple pictures. Nothing.
Dude, it'll be the worst when I first got on Facebook, like I was towards the end, but still very much in my like emo, like the world's out to get me days. So like sometimes like I was just overly emotional. I'm like, now I look back and I'm like, dude, why? And you know, it's part of growth. Like, why did you care so much?
Yeah.
But I look like I'll read something. I'm like, oh my God, like I was at Bonnaroo on this day in 2017.
There you go. I've deleted some of my stuff.
Really?
And I'm like, oh, this does not age well. You can't say that stuff,
dude.
You know? Like,
so when I first got a Twitter in college, like I hid it from my family, and I was just posting all types of stuff, right? Well, my mom ended up finding it somehow, and she called me. She's like, "You need to delete this stuff." She's like, "You need to delete this stuff." I'm like, "Mom, let me be. I'm in college." And she's like, "Jonathan, this is the internet. It lives on forever. You need to take it down." And so one day, it's not like, I mean, it was never anything like the real bad stuff like Josh Hader and all that stuff, but it would be just like stuff about, I don't know, partying a whole bunch and stuff like that. She's like, one day this is probably going to be a professional Twitter account and you're probably going to not want that on there. And so shout out to my mom.
Yeah.
I hate saying it when she's right, but she was right.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Twitter, where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm on at Shippy Spins on all platforms. At Shippy Spins, so it's ShippySpins on Twitter, Instagram, and I have my own Facebook page, and then Jonathan Shippy Shipman on Facebook.
Sweet. Guys, make sure you follow Shippy on all the different platforms. Follow me on Instagram at Michael Pasvar. Go to michaelpasvar.com for dates that are coming up. Dates that will come up when this episode comes out, I will be in Tulsa at the Tulsa Comedy Club June 25th. In Addison at TK's new comedy club in Addison. I'm there July 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. And July 23rd at Rollertown in Salina. Check out the website for more dates. Make sure you guys like, subscribe to the podcast. We'll see you guys next time. Bye now.
See ya.
Back in the day.